Melbourne Victory are flexing their title muscles. Their Matildas goalkeeper, Lydia Williams, is our special guest in the studio tonight. A goal of the season contender rescues Melbourne City and Gosford in a weekend that threw up multiple worldies. And a Christmas miracle in Adelaide as the Reds grab their first win of the season. Hello and welcome to Dub Zone. I'm Niav Owens. Awesome to have you with us after what has been a cracking Sunday of football in the Dub, and it's lovely to be here alongside an all Matildas panel tonight. A couple of old girls in Cath and Cannuli. Hello, Nils.
Are you calling me old, Nevo?
It was old or alumni, and I was going to go with old. How do you feel about that?
I'll take it.
If the shoe fits, Alicia Ferguson, nice to see you.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here as the oldest member on the panel. Oh, no, you're on the panel, not the panel, not the alumni.
Current Matilda and Victory marquee player Lydia Williams. Hello, Lids.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. You played in the first season of the W League. Since then, you've played in some of the biggest clubs in the world, Arsenal, PSG. What's it like for you to return to the Dub this season?
Oh, it's just nice to be home. There's no place like it, and to kind of see out the twilight years where it all first began, and I guess try and leave a really good mark on what the league is and developing into again. It's really nice to be home. How
big an impact does playing in those fully professional leagues have on your football?
Oh, it's everything that you want to do. You're playing Champions League. I mean, you want to play at the highest level, which is, outside a national team. It's Champions League. It's competing for titles. It's being recognised worldwide for Ballon d'Ors, and there's no better place to do that than Europe and these big clubs. And that's what you want to achieve. You want to be a full-time professional, and that's where you need to go to live, breathe, and everything football.
Pre-Champions League, you two played against each other in a W League Grand Final. It was 2011-2012 season. Now, Nils tells us she remembers none of this, but I think that's just because you guys won, Lids. Tell us about that Canberra side that you played with.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have a trophy for it. No, but it was a really fun season. It was, I think, the first time that anyone went undefeated in it. And it was just a really good vibe and group that we had. It's being home, and I think that's kind of our first journey before everyone started to move overseas.
While Nils was playing with the Raw, you guys didn't play alongside each other, Ish, but you were in the coach's dugout for a brilliant season that Nils had in Orange. What are your key memories of highlights that year?
Yeah, one of the worst corners I've ever seen in my whole life, taken by one Catherine Cannuli. I think Nils remembers me burst out laughing afterwards. I just couldn't understand. So she was taken on the right-hand side, great left foot, should be an in-swinger, and it kind of went straight at a 45-degree angle behind the goal. And I still can't quite work out the laws of physics for you to make that happen.
I'm just going to bring it down to Ish screaming to me to take a quick corner. I sprinted that hard that my body went into shock, that when I took the corner that I don't even know where the ball went. So we'll just blame it on that.
Not necessarily known for your work rate or the pace, is that what you're saying?
When you score goals like I do, you don't need to run or have a work rate, so it's all good. But what I want to say is I'm just really glad that these days you can't bring up that footage from 10 years ago.
We did look. Trust us, we did look. What we do have footage of, Lids, is your win over Canberra United yesterday. This is a 6-game unbeaten run for Victory now, and a game, Ish, that Melbourne Victory dominated from start to finish. All the stats, 25 shots to 3, Canberra without a shot on target. This was a really dominant performance from Melbourne Victory.
Yeah, it was great work from the Victory. I think against probably quite a disorganised Canberra defence. But, I think Jamila Rankin here, just picking up that ball, KK had a little slip, and then Wynart just placing it in. Question marks, I think, over Lincoln's save there. Thought she should have done better, but it was a solid start to what was a comprehensive result. And then Aquino again, she scored a similar type goal against the Phoenix last week. Those runs just in behind, off the shoulder of the defenders. Nice little take around and great finish from her.
We know, Lids, that this is a Canberra team that is so dangerous going forward. Can you talk us through Jeff and the Victory's defensive plan coming into this one? Because a clean sheet against Canberra is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think after their result last weekend, we knew that, that they're a team that loves to transition and they get a lot of their joy and goals through that. So for us, it was how do we nullify that attack, or how are we aware if we lose the ball or if they have a period of play. How do we make sure that they don't play to their strengths, which is that. So I think the defence did an amazing job, and that was Jeff's message going into the week of how do we stop their strength and make sure that we continue to play our strength, which is, keeping the ball in possession. And I think we did that really well.
You certainly did. Canberra ultimately played almost half a game a player down. Talk us through this moment for the Canberra defender and what decisions you're making as a goalkeeper in those split-second moments, and positionally how big an impact your defence has on where you are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if a team, the defensive line is playing higher up at the pitch as a goalkeeper, depending on what the coach wants and how you are playing, you have to kind of be in line with whatever the height of that game is. But as a goalkeeper, when you're out of the box, you know that you have to win the ball because it is a red card if you don't. Different if you're in the box, it's just a yellow card and a pen. So it is, that decision making of are you coming, are you going, how do you actually win it, are you staying and letting your defenders go? It's very different.
The game's evolved so much, and the goalkeeper plays such a major part in the way, the team is actually set up. And we talk about coaches' philosophies, and before it used to be left to more so just the goalkeeper coach, but now we're going off what the actual head coach wants. And in terms of your positioning, have you found that over the years that the game has evolved in terms of where the goalkeepers actually position themselves depending on the philosophy of the head coach? Yeah,
definitely. And I guess it depends on threats of the opposition as well, because if it's, got speedy wingers or a speedy forward and they're looking to play transition all the time, you can afford to be higher. Or if it's a team that likes to possess the ball, it actually, you can drop a little bit more as a team. So it really depends on, I guess, the coaching organisation and how they want to defend first and how that looks as a goalkeeper and I guess how you make decisions during a game.
Alana Murphy was super impressive in this game, Knowles. A couple of beautiful balls in behind. Can you talk us through what's working so well for her in the midfield this season?
I thought she's been fantastic this season. She's really built into this competition. I think one of the major things is seeing KK come into the mix as well, and you can see that she's guiding her. Is that something that you see, Lids, in this Melbourne Victory squad, having someone like a KK helping and mentoring someone like Alana Murphy who is coming through the ranks?
Yeah, I mean, KK has so much experience. It's a number of, World Cups under her belt, professionally overseas as well. And to have her mentor the midfield, she just says it plainly how it is and how you can be better and what you strive to be. And also having Emily Gilnick in there as well, she gives instruction on actually how strikers like to receive a ball, different players, and we have Weinart on the wing who loves the ball in behind, and then we have Aquino who loves the ball at her feet. And how do you identify that on their runs that they make? And it's been really educational, I think, for the team this year of having those really experienced players and how you can kind of have open discussions. That's not just coaching points, it's actually players' point of views of what do I like? And how are you going to get the best out of me?
Is that something that you, Matildas, have brought back into this environment? Obviously, having someone like Jeff Hopkins who can buy into that as well and allow the experience of the Matildas to come back in and try and continue driving the culture and the understanding forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think Jeff's really kind of let it be an open forum, that we have these really honest and educational conversations, and he doesn't want to hear his voice all the time. I think he's pretty sick of it. He's been around for a while, but
we've heard a bit of his voice over time, hey?
A fair bit of it.
It's sometimes here, it's sometimes here.
Yeah, but I think he's been great in how he's allowed that openness happen and kind of it being a team that we're developing ourselves and not just it being from coaching styles as well.
That's more modern football, you would say, that collaboration between the players, especially when you've got that much experience.
Mm-hmm, definitely, and I think, having these girls be exposed to, players that have played at the highest level and seeing what it takes to really feed into them to achieve these things has been really important.
We've seen that impact in Newcastle as well with Emily Van Egmond there for the Jets. We saw it again today, Ish. This was a cracker of a contest against Western United, and both Serena Bolden and Emily Van Egmond super influential in this result.
Yeah, they really were. I was really impressed with Lauren Aaron, particularly on this goal here. She just switched it really quickly. Great little through ball from Bolden there. Switched it really quickly, quick touch onto her right, and then opened it up. Bit of Thierry Henry style in that. Nice little pass into the far corner. I'm not sure what the goalkeeper was doing for this one, Lids. I might throw to you for that.
I mean, like you say, when you go out and, going for a ball, you have to win the ball. It's a decision-making thing that goes... It's split seconds. It literally is. And you know, it can be a little toe poke from the striker and then you're all of a sudden taking the striker out instead of the ball.
It was a great finish there by Emily Van Egmond as well, Lauren Allen in the build-up as well, great little cut back there, and then Papadopoulos down the other end where she comes out and just turns, touch, and a great finish there as well.
That's one like yours, Nils, except on the other foot. And then this Bolden, nice little lob as well, you know. Didn't have too much else to do. I mean, keeper looked in decent positioning, but she just caught it so sweetly.
Was that one of those moments, Lids, that for a goalkeeper, there was very little she can do? The finish from Serena Bolden was exquisite.
Yeah, you're just praying that it hits crossbar or goes over when you're in that position.
Melina Ayres came off the bench and thought she had one very late in this contest as well. But, Nils, this game was 1-0 at half-time. This was the second 45 that went off.
If anyone would have thought that we would have had this scoreline at the end of the 90 minutes, they would have thought again. But it was a great game. Both teams came out and scored some cracking goals in that second half as well.
Emily Van Egmond Lids for Newcastle in 4 games. She's had 3 goals and 3 assists. The growth that we've seen within that Jets side while she's been a part of the team has been enormous. How do they maintain that without her? Once that in-game coaching is gone, how do they continue to grow and play with this confidence?
Yeah, I think it's just learning. There's a Matilda that's been playing with you, and it's like how quickly can you take in the information that she's given and the playing style, and you know, also, you know, the coaching points of, you know, Gary feeding that confidence back into the team. And, you know, they've been on a roll since she's been in the team. And it's just maintaining that. They're in a good headspace. So, you know, as you say, like, if you're in confidence and in good form, it's very easy to continue that rolling.
And Lids, look, we've got an Olympics coming up, which could, I think, you know, potentially be the end of a very successful cycle for this current crop of Matildas. Are we going to see more of the Tillies come back and play in the A-League Women?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us realise that, you know, this is our roots where we first started, and everyone loves home. We saw after the World Cup just how much we love it here and how much it's been a really humbling to give back to the generations of the youngsters coming through, both girls and boys. And I think, yeah, we'll see an influx of Tillies coming home. Not sure when, but I think that, you know, all of us say there's no place like home.
We're not rushing them. There's no rush. Anyone? There's no rush, but it would be great to see everyone back.
You talk about that legacy piece there as well, Lids, and giving back to the next gen who are coming through. How much does your PFA role play into that? You're the VP of the PFA. You're part of the CBA agreement that was crucial back in 2015. Huge news around that, and this most recent one as well. For you, is that part of that transition and giving back to a game that you've played for such a long time?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through so many different periods of, you know, not having contracts, not being able to get things washed, and now we're in a really special place where we're seen as equals to, you know, the Socceroos and what the men can achieve. And it's how to keep continuing that ride and roll. And I just want to make sure that the game in all aspects is better off than when I've started, and giving everyone an opportunity to be like, I want to be a national team player, or I just want to play the best that I can and achieve my full potential. In whatever role that will be, and that's me making sure that I can do whatever I can possible to make sure that happens.
When we look at that next gen, I think Unite Round Nils is going to play such a big role in really giving young girls an opportunity to experience the game, to see every team, to see the Lydia Williams here in Sydney playing across the course of the weekend. There's going to be a Unite Cup and a Girls Unite Gala. I love this. I've got a 7-year-old and she's going to be signed up. Arnie Nils is going to be taking her along, coaching her throughout this, because it's an opportunity for those youngsters who haven't played before to get their first experience of football.
It's fantastic to see that we're having this and we're celebrating young girls in the game. We know that post-World Cup that summer football numbers have skyrocketed across New South Wales especially, and we need to make sure that we allow these young females to have an opportunity to be part of the game, to be able to find a grassroots club, because we want these girls to be able to, you know, aspire to be the next generation of Matildas, because that's realistically where they all start from. They start from grassroots.
You can find out more about that at aleagues.com.au. If you sign up for the grassroots, the Unite Cup and the Girls Unite Gala, you can also go along to every game. It's going to be a massive weekend. What was your first introduction to football, Lids? You played in country WA, but it was at Canberra, the nation's capital, that really gave you your first start?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I had to register. Everywhere before that, it was just playing with school teams, but Canberra was the first time that I realised it was a competition and something that was, a club you're playing for, something that you get to, a uniform that you get to wear every week and be proud that you represent a club. So definitely grassroots is the foundation of all passion, I think, for football.
Another thing that helps grow that passion is your book, Saved. And I feel like from Canberra, where you played your first football, you threw it back in this book to country WA and that first kind of experience you had.
Yeah, for me it was, I just fell in love with sport, and it wasn't until I found football that I really just enjoyed it. It was everything that I wanted. I got to play outside. When I moved to Canberra, I didn't have a lot of friends. So it was football that made me create this community of people and friends that I still have today. And we keep in touch and contact. And yeah, it's just been really nice to give back kind of my own story in kids' book to hopefully inspire, kids to be like, oh, I can come from wherever background, whatever kind of advantages or disadvantages, and I can still, enjoy it and have fun and make friends.
When you came home, was your mum at you to sign for Canberra United, like non-stop?
Oh, no. She was just happy for me to play and be out of the house. I think that was it. They wanted some break from me.
Central Coast Mariners, let's have a look at that game now. They took on Melbourne City yesterday, Arvo, and the Mariners so disciplined in this contest. It felt like they went into the game with a really clear game plan from Emily Husband, and they executed it beautifully.
Yeah, they did it. I think Leah Blaney in commentary said it perfectly. They just started with a mid to low block. It progressed into a low block, but what they did was great. They played a 4-2-4 defensively, and it made it difficult for City to break them down. And Battle scored a great goal, but it was actually the pressure and City trying to play out through. Chinua tried to play it into Laura Hughes on the inside, and there was about 4 or 5 Mariners players. So Galich won it back, played a little ball into low and then into Battle, and they consistently did that time and time again throughout the game, and I think credit to them for executing that game plan.
City had a whole heap of possession in this game, Knowles, as we expect, but it didn't feel like they were able to create clear-cut scoring opportunities, and it took Rebecca Stott and her experience to kind of show that bit of urgency going forward that they've been lacking.
Melbourne City always have possessions. They're always dominating games, but it was just unfortunate for them that the Central Coast Mariners were just so well structured in this game and they couldn't find answers. They always want to play through the lines. They have such quality footballers that are technical, always want to be on the ball, but they had to find different solutions to be able to get something out of this game. And I was lucky enough that a little bit of beautiful play there by Rebecca Stott and a great goal, but other than that, realistically, they weren't really creating clear-cut chances to get anything out of that game.
And it needed Stotty because she had that sense of urgency towards the end of the game, and she actually pushed forward a lot more. Ball got deflected out, then she was a little 1-2 again, and a cracking finish from her. But yeah, it's that being able to control the tempo, because when they have so much possession and it's against such a defensive team, that really slows the game down. And I think they struggled with that just a little bit.
How hard is it, Lids, to break down what is such a well-organised block defence?
Oh, I mean, it's just you're trying to find the little gaps going through, and if you're not, playing transition or changing it up, like you have to have something different than your game plan going forward if you're not finding the right answers. And I think, Stott was able to do that with just, dribbling through herself and getting the 1-2 and going, at the goal and shooting. But if you kind of just keep going with the same game plan and it's not working, you need to change something up. And I think, she was able to do that herself. But, a low block that's well defended.
Frustrating
it's
to play
hard.
against.
It's very hard.
We've all been there. It's a very valid tactic, and I think, again, Mariners really executed it well. I think, but the difference is sometimes you play against a low block and then that team doesn't really have necessarily so much ambition to go forward. But this Mariners team, they know that that's actually what's really dangerous for them. And again, they executed it well.
You take on City next week, Melbourne Derby, part of a double header. We know that both yourselves and City are two of the fancy teams in this competition to go all the way. How big are bragging rights this early in the season in a Melbourne Derby?
Oh, it's massive. I mean, I haven't been on the other side. I've always been on, the City side. So this is going to be different for me as well. But I'm looking forward to it. It's, when you play in a derby, even, being at Arsenal and you're playing against Chelsea and Tottenham, it's big. You show up for that occasion, and it's going to be exciting to play it just before Christmas as well. And you want to, go into that holiday season, with feeling good thoughts, good vibes. So it's going to be a big one, and us coming off a win, and I think it's going to be, a real positive vibe going into this week, leading into next.
When you've crossed the divide and you're now wearing dark blue, do you expect to get a little bit of extra stick?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think I still get a little bit now, but. I think it's all about banter in the game, and I'm here for it. I'm happy for it.
Let's have a look at Adelaide's clash with Wellington Phoenix now, Knowles, because I was so happy for Adrian Stenter coming out of this game. Adelaide have had a tough season so far, but they made some changes in the second half and they got a result out of this game and brought it home in the final 15 minutes in particular in a really strong way.
They did. They had a much better second half than what they usually do, though. Look, to be honest, Wellington Phoenix were unlucky not to get the win out of this game. In the first half, the Phoenix pressed really, really hard, and it made Adelaide United go long a lot of the times. They did create chances of Phoenix, but they didn't put the ball in the back of the net, which really come back to bite them in the second half. And you can see here with the Sasaki free kick, I think it's a bit of a goalkeeping error there from Foster, but in the end of the day, Adelaide United got the 3 points, which is really, really important for them and their season.
Knowles pointed to it there, Ish. I think the Knicks will feel like, given the weight of possession, the opportunities that they had in the first 45, that this is one that got away.
Yeah, as Neil said, particularly the first half. I mean, there was a one-on-one. Speckmeyer got through, tried to play it with her left foot into the near post, and think she definitely should have finished that. And there was a bad miss from Elliott as well. So, I mean, this was kind of the story of the game. These balls in behind, Emma Main finishing this one off. But there was these nice little slip passes. They just didn't score enough of them.
Adrian Stenter spoke after the game, Lids, about the focus this week coming into this one being not to concede goals in quick succession. Something they've done throughout the season. They looked at that middle part of the game and really owning that and not falling away. For a goalkeeper, how big a role do you play in that moment after you've conceded a goal as a team, making sure that it doesn't quickly become two?
Yeah, it's just about controlling what you can control, and usually that's the tempo, and it's, if you just need a break, if it goes out for a goal kick, or if, the goalkeeper gets possession, of just how to connect some passes again to make sure everyone's just gets back. It's just about a reset, and whatever that is, whether it's decided as a team or individually, it's just how quickly can you reset from, the disappointment and the emotion back to the game plan and what you need to do.
You mentioned reset. A team that I feel has been looking for a reset, Ish, in recent weeks is your Brisbane Roar. They got that in a way today because they got points out of this contest with the Western Sydney Wanderers, including opening the scoring. And it feels like Corbin is a player. If they can get her the kind of service she needs, she's going to score more than one in a game.
Yeah, again, it's all about service. I mean, it was a really nice direct run from Corbin to get this goal. I think for Brisbane, after the performance last week against Canberra, they needed a reset, and you can see the huddle straight after the goal, the information that's being given for these players is they need to reset, whether it's positive or negative. So when they score, they need to reset and just maintain the consistency of communication, which fell away when they were under pressure and conceding a lot of goals last week. And you could just see, sometimes you concede one and then it all starts unravelling.
Sophie Harding, 5 goals in 4 games. They have figured out how to use her, what she brings, how she brings it, and providing her, Knowles, with the service she needs.
The Wanderers are just playing to her strengths, right? And now she's had, 5 goals in 4 games, which as a striker, that confidence actually grows for her. And every week she goes into a game knowing that the week before that she has scored. When you get that monkey off your back in terms of as a goal scorer and as a striker, I think she's just grown in confidence over the last few weeks. And the team also getting a couple of good results, I think, also helps as well.
But you also appreciate that you've got a coach and a team that are playing to your strengths and that and you're fitting into that system as well. And I think that gives her confidence. And then when you're seeing, the fruits of that labour, then it all just makes things a lot easier, doesn't it, to continue that momentum.
Another player that you're a huge fan of, Knowles, who was part of this Western Sydney Wanderers setup, is Clare Hunt. She was the skipper there. Lids, it blows my mind that she made her Matildas debut this year. In 2023, she already feels like such an integral part of your team. What is it that she brings in a confident sense and a defensive sense that's helped her fit straight in?
I think it was one of the first camps she came into, and we're just playing and doing like defensive set pieces, and she just came out and headed this ball, and then the next moment it was like attacking transition, and she just got this ball and delivered it diagonally straight to someone's feet, and we're like, oh, okay. And she just came with just this like air of confidence of who she was as a player, that it literally was like, okay, well, yep, okay, she fits in. And she just kind of delivered that right from day one, and yeah, it seems like she's been in there for a really long time.
Yeah, and I saw that leadership, that natural-born leadership from Clare Hunt as well. You had some advice for her, though, didn't you, Lids, when she had to make a decision about a particular overseas club that was after her? What did you tell her?
Go. It literally, I was just like,
Well,
you're going to play
PSG, wasn't it? Who you'd played with as well.
I was just like, you're going to play Champions League football. It's what you want to do, and you have an opportunity to do it. It might not be the easiest ride, but it will be the most rewarding thing you do, because you're just going to be challenged as a footballer and as a person, and it ultimately is going to help you develop into someone that you really like, and who the next version of you is going to be.
And has she given any insight about her experience? So far?
I mean, she says that she's still trying to learn French, so I'm like, we're all at the same level, but no, she's really enjoyed it. She's, I mean, obviously playing now, and she's played Champions League football, and yeah, I think she's, fitting right in and really enjoying Parisian life.
How could you not?
Yeah.
Another player that we saw really enjoy 2023 is Mackenzie Arnold. There at the back in goal during the World Cup. She was named this week, Lids, as one of the finalists in the FIFA Best Women's Goalkeeper of the Year awards. How special has it been for you, having played as part of the Goalkeepers Union with her for so long, to see her absolutely smashing it this season?
Oh, it's incredible. I'm so happy the way that she's matured as a player and a person, and I mean, she's been there for a lot of my career and helped me during that time. So to see her step up into that role and deliver the performance that she has this year, I'm over the moon for her, and, supporting her 100% of the way.
How big an impact do you think, Ish, it's had on Macca's development, playing in the WSL, playing for West Ham?
A huge impact, because as a professional footballer, you need to perform week in, week out. If you don't perform, you get dropped to the bench. If you don't perform, you get sold or loaned out of the club. So I think, as Lid said, and you can attest to this, Lid, you've been in that professional environment, your mentality has to change. Your mentality has to change, or otherwise you're not getting any minutes, or you're not at the club.
Yeah, and I think she's realised that, and it's where she wants to be. She wants performing at the highest level, and especially with the national team, to achieve something special with the team that we have. And yeah, it's just clicked for her, and it's just really exciting to see that growth.
How special is that relationship between the goalkeepers in the Matildas setup? You're all fighting for the one position, but it feels like the three of you in particular really have this special relationship where you're also supporting each other and celebrating each other's success.
Yeah, I think that was one of the important things that our goalkeeper coach, brought in first, is that it doesn't matter who's playing at that time, we need to support that person, because we're one. We can compete until that moment that someone is picked, then it's all up. It can be whoever it is, but until that moment, then we support that person 100%. And I think that's been our mentality since the beginning, and you can kind of see just how close we are, that it's exciting, and a clean sheet for one person is a clean sheet for all of us.
For the team. Lydia Williams, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insights.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Good luck in the derby next weekend.
Thank you.
Lids has a flight to catch, but while we say goodbye to Lids, we're going to have a look at the next gen tracker now. These are the best players in our game under 25 years of age, under 21 years of age, the ones to watch now. This is this month's top 5. Milivojevic, who has had an incredible month of football. You really rate her, Knowles. You signed her at the Wanderers. How much has she grown since her time away from the Dub?
She's been unbelievable, honestly. This season, Canberra United without Vesna would be a different team this season. I think, she's just grown as a person, as a player. She went away, we signed her at the Wanderers from a young age. She's just got such technical ability, her creativity. She's unpredictable when she gets onto the ball. And, she went away at a young age. She moved to Serbia. She wanted more opportunities. She was playing Champions League football. She's debuted for the Serbian national team as well. Now she's come back to Australia. Obviously, she missed her family through that COVID period, but She has been carrying Canberra United. She's been fantastic.
So these are our overall top 5 standings now, a couple of months into the dub season. We're going to keep an eye on this right throughout the year. We're going to bring you the winner from by the end of the season. For you, Ish, who really stands out?
Kush LaRue's been excellent. I think just on that Wanderers team who are now looking for being on the front foot, playing with a lot of pace going forward. She's dynamic, she's powerful, and she, is constantly looking for Sophie Harding as well. She's been really impressive.
Narlene Masto, welcome. Hello, good to see you.
Lovely to see you guys.
Let's have a look while we've got you here at the ladder and how it stands after round 8 of the Liberty A-League. Do you know what? I need my glasses on, but it is still Melbourne City there on top of the table. That draw was enough to see them get top spot above Perth Glory. Have had a remarkable season. That Melbourne derby next weekend is going to be an absolute cracker. Victory, it feels like, really hitting their straps. And the win in Newcastle today sees the Jets move up into the top 6. They have been in fine form, and the Newey locals have absolutely loved having their Matilda back in town. There's been a whole heap to celebrate there. Now, Narlene, you join us with what's happening in the world of women's football, and not just because we had Lids here and she's an absolute legend. We're also going to continue the celebration of goalkeepers.
Absolutely. Mary Earp's England goalkeeper, her kits sold out in less than 5 minutes on England's online store. And this comes after the kit supplier Nike faced backlash during the FIFA Women's World Cup because they didn't put her jerseys on sale. Earps wasn't happy. She publicly made it known that she was hurt by the decision. Fans signed a petition to try and get their hands on the jersey. In October, the first batch sold out within hours, and now we've seen it even sell out quicker. Knowles, I feel like goalkeepers are just becoming the trendsetters in football. Would you agree?
Look, now that Lydia has actually left the building, I can say no, because as a striker, I'd rather be scoring goals than stopping goals.
What was your advice to your nephew who told you wanted to be a goalkeeper?
I don't know if I can say that on air, Nevo, but I had some really quiet words with him when he asked me to go in goals. I said, mate, you are a Cannuli. You have to stay up front and you have to score them. Don't worry about saving them.
Stay up front, don't run, and score goals. The Cannuli way. Do that. Bang them in the top corner.
That's it. That's it.
We saw goals, Narlene, in the North London derby this morning. The place was absolutely rocking.
Incredible. Big Ange also in attendance for this as well. Tottenham securing their first ever WSL win over Arsenal, all thanks to Martha Thomas, who scored the winner. But Arsenal attempted 31 shots on goal. That's their highest tally this season, compared to Spurs, who only had 5 attempts on goal, their lowest tally this season in contrast. But I feel like, Ish, is the gap starting to close now between the sides like Spurs, who have always kind of been in and around that title race but never quite got there?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're coming towards, close up to 10 years of professionalism in that WSL, with the big clubs properly investing in these teams, and you're definitely seeing that. I mean, in this particular game, I really feel sorry for the Arsenal players for their video and analyst session after these of so many chances. But it's a great upset and it's a great story for the league, and I still think it's the most competitive and most entertaining women's league in the world.
Nearing the end of 2023, Narlene. So FIFA out with their world rankings. Any changes to the top 5?
There has been a few big changes. Spain have topped the rankings for the very first time, followed by USA, France, England and Sweden, who've dropped 4 rankings. As for the Tillies, they've dropped to 12th place, despite their pretty impressive Olympic qualifiers. But international break, I guess, dropped them a few rankings. But Cath and Ish, which 2 nations do you think, come next year, can actually put together a run and climb up the rankings, and which country you think may drop a few positions?
Well, I personally think England and Sweden not being in the Olympics is going to be pretty huge. Yeah. Interesting to see Korea DPR there again, because they were a powerhouse in women's football when I was playing, been to Pyongyang 3 times. And I think we lost a technical team, then they kind of dropped off the radar. So it's scary for us in the Asian Confederation that they're on their way back up, because it's such a competitive federation for us. But yeah, that's what I think potentially could happen.
I think as well, I think England's going to be one that's going to struggle to keep up in their rankings, but I also think Japan had a wonderful World Cup, and I think that they're going to make their way up the ladder as well.
Marlene, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ish, Nules, pleasure, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
Thank you so much for joining us at home as well. That is our last Dub Zone before Christmas. So from the whole Dub Zone team, we wish you a safe, a happy summer. We hope Santa brings your team a whole heap of points over the festive season. We'll see you again in 2023. And in the meantime, you can relive Dub Zone on the A-Leagues podcast. We'll see you soon.